Hey everybody, thanks for stopping in for yet another update on Tropical Storm Zeta. We're less than 24 hours from landfall, and it could likely become a hurricane before it hits Louisiana's coast sometime tomorrow night. So we're going to get you updated on all of that, you guys, let you know what we're watching, how we expect this to play out, and the unprecedented nature of the next couple of days that is going to really dictate how fast this system moves across the eastern half of the country. A really powerful cold front is moving across the eastern U.S. And I'm going to actually tell Matt, who is our production coordinator, he's driving the bus right now. Matt, I forgot to tell you about this, but there is a piece of video from Aaron Jack that is in our SharePoint. If you can grab it, it'll say live stream, and we'll just talk, and you can tell me when it's up. And it is showing this ice storm that is going to be a big player in the direction of Zeta and its movement over the couple of days. So while Matt works on that, let's talk about some other things. It'll say live stream in the SharePoint. It'll say live stream, and it's somewhere in Oklahoma. Yeah. So I apologize. I didn't get that over to you before we started this live broadcast, but that's okay because Matt's super quick and he'll get it for us. But let me talk about the app first, because what we wanted to show you, of course, is what Tropical Storm Zeta has done today. We talked about it yesterday, that when it moved across Mexico, it was likely going to lose some of its intensity, which of course it did. Anytime a tropical cyclone passes over a peninsula, over a landmass, it loses its structure, and that was indeed the case today. But we do anticipate there to be enough time between now and landfall tomorrow for this to regenerate into a hurricane. And the official forecast from the Hurricane Center does call for a hurricane, a Category 1 at landfall, and moving over southeastern Louisiana and then into parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and then just racing across the eastern half of the country thanks to this cold front and becoming extra tropical in about 3 days. But you can see the track here. This is a paid upgrade. You don't have to have this to track the cyclone. You can see it very clearly on the radar, but you can also see again that this is been a fairly ragged system now that it's become a tropical storm. The center of circulation is about 30 miles, give or take, across. And at one point, we were seeing some banding features and what looked to be a closed eye and a well-defined eye yesterday. Now we see a broader area of low pressure, a broader closed low there. But certainly, this has got a fair amount of bad weather that we're anticipating. And of course, that critical storm surge, which will be a big player in parts of Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and southern Alabama. And we think with the storm surge, we're talking about southern Alabama, Mobile Bay, Dauphin Island, and into Mississippi. That's going to bear the brunt of this storm surge as we get into tomorrow. So I'll show you that as well. But Matt, if we can switch over to WSI, and we'll take a look at the current warnings from the National Weather Service and the National Hurricane Center. So you can see the areas that are shaded in red. Those are the hurricane warnings. The areas shaded in orange are tropical storm warnings. And of course, we already have a flash flood watch that's up for parts of the country as well, because we are anticipating several inches of rain and could see some isolated tornadoes tomorrow as well. So let me fire up the old computer here, and we'll take a look at this stuff in a little bit more detail. And let's see here. I'm going to back out of that because that's not what I wanted to do. But I do have the 5 radars on. You can see got New Orleans toggled on, as well as Mobile. And then I've also got some radars up in Columbia, Mississippi, over in the Florida Panhandle as well. So I've got 5 radars on. Of course, we don't expect to see anything right now. It'll be really tomorrow before we start to get this system close enough to the U.S. But you can see that southerly flow that's coming in from the Gulf of Mexico and lifting showers northward. So that's just going to only get enhanced as we head into tonight and especially tomorrow. So yet again, our friends in Louisiana, hurricane weary. You all don't deserve a tropical cyclone ever again after this year. Of course, we can't guarantee that, but I certainly hope you all get a break because it has been unbelievable for the southeastern U.S., in particular the northern Gulf Coast. So here's a look at the live wind speeds. Very low. That's pretty seasonable, of course, 15 to 20 mile per hour winds. Those will be ramping up, of course, as we get into tomorrow. And we expect to see those tropical storm conditions to really ramp up tomorrow around lunchtime, and then really getting into that critical phase around 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon local time. Right now, the best thinking is the landfall will be somewhere around 8 p.m. local time, 7 to 8 p.m. It's really hard to pinpoint the actual landfall, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood. So it will already be dark or getting dark at the time that Zeta makes landfall. So watch as it goes over that loop, though, over the last several hours. Looked very well organized last night as it crossed over Cozumel. There is damage out of there as well. And then as it moves into the central Gulf, you can see that we kind of see a secondary burst there. So watch those last two frames. And actually, I'll stop it here and we'll talk about that in a second. You can see that it's actually trying to refire, and that's not unusual. At nighttime, we actually get a burst of convection through the overnight hours, oftentimes with these tropical cyclones. So as you take a look, you can see, especially on the south and the southwest side over here, there is a big burst of convection, and then we kind of see it wane a little bit on the north side of the tropical storm, and then it's kind of open-ended over here on the east side, kind of ragged, typically a more well-defined part of the tropical system, but not the case, at least right now. But we are starting to see these storms fire. So don't be surprised if you wake up in the morning and we're talking about, again, a Category 1 hurricane. So the latest information from the National Hurricane Center, remember, we'll get an update from them within this hour. As of 7 p.m. local, which is 8 p.m. Eastern, the winds were still at 65 miles an hour. The pressure was up to 990, northwest movement at 14, and we expect it to stay on that trajectory through the northwest movement through tomorrow, probably at least half of the day, and then we're going to start to see that change over to where we could see more of that northerly turn, and then we're going to really see things ramp up as we get into tomorrow night, and especially Thursday. That thing is going to just rocket out of Louisiana and into Mississippi and across the southeastern U.S. Of course, my concern will be for tornadoes, because we're already going to have rotating storms, and as it moves over the inland areas, there's going to be that risk for some pretty nasty weather. So here's a look at the official path again from the Hurricane Center. As a Category 1 landfall, again 7 to 8 p.m. local time. Then by Thursday, it's already in parts of Alabama. And then look at the big jump from Thursday at 2 a.m. to Thursday at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, just 12 hours. It gets from central and south central Alabama all the way up to West Virginia and the state of Virginia. So it is going to be racing with this cold front as that front races towards the east. So that's a good thing, because it's going to get absorbed by that front, and it's going to lose a lot of its tropical characteristics very quickly. However, there is a ton of weather with that cold front. There has been freezing rain, ice, and sleet. And Matt, let me know if you have that video queued up. We'll take it. But there has been a ton of weather with that cold front, and that's going to help pick up Zeta and just shoot it out across the eastern half of the country as we get into the next couple of days. And then it'll be off the coast of the U.S., extratropical and no tropical characteristics whatsoever by, say, early Friday. So here's a look at the hurricane warnings. We also have tropical storm watches to the left of those warnings that extend over just before Lake Arthur area. This is near New Iberia. And then back towards the right, or back towards Florida, we have tropical storm warnings up as well, and that extends through parts of extreme western Florida through the Panhandle. And we could see that storm surge in that area anywhere from 4 to 6 feet. I'll show you that coming up in just a second as well. So here's a look at the storm wind radii. So this is a product that the National Hurricane Center puts out every 6 hours when they issue their full suites of their, and let me back that up a second. If it's going to let me, it may not. Oh yeah, it does. Okay. So here you can see this would be a potential landfall around 4:30 p.m. based on this product. But most of the data and most of the discussions that I've gotten from the National Hurricane Center put the timing somewhere between 7 and 8 p.m. local. This is a product from the National Hurricane Center. It's not a computer model. It's direct. It's a direct forecast product from them. So we'll see, we'll fine tune the forecast, and we will be full staff tomorrow. We have meteorologist Mike Linden coming in tomorrow morning with Damien. They'll be here doing live coverage for you starting at 8 a.m. They'll be here through the afternoon, and then I'll pick it up with my Matt tomorrow after evening, and through duration we'll be here for the landfall. So we'll see how close this is, but look how big that window is, if you will, for those winds to expand. So you have to remember the tropical storm force winds currently extend out about 140 miles from the center. So that's all that area you see shaded in yellow. So a big portion of southeastern Louisiana, parts of southern Mississippi, and this is going to expand eastward, of course, as it moves towards the east. And then, of course, it's even going to withhold those tropical storm force winds through the entire state as it crosses over central Alabama. And then we start to see it lose that a little bit of that. These will be gusts by Thursday morning, probably in the neighborhood of 35, 40 miles an hour, certainly enough to cause some problems. And then it scoots off the Delmarva as we get into Thursday night and into Friday, and then it's out of here after that. But boy, is it going to be a big mess. And Matt, I can't hear you if you can talk to me. So I've got Vox turned on. Oh, okay. All right, so we'll skip the video. You can catch it, by the way, in the fast forecast. We're having some problems with it loading up into our system, but trust me, there is a massive cold front that is going to be picking up this thing. And actually, you can check it out by headed over to Aaron J. Jack's Twitter page or his YouTube page. He's our official storm chaser for MyRadar, and he's gotten some great video today of this major ice storm that has millions of people without power throughout Oklahoma and Texas. And it has created a gamut of weather, and it's going to be a big player tomorrow because it's going to help, again, move Zeta extremely fast, which lessens the impact, but not the storm surge. The storm surge doesn't change. The wind component is not going to change either at landfall. So we're talking about a storm surge from 4 to 8 feet in those areas shaded in bright pink where there's a storm surge warning. And that is a life-threatening storm surge. You have to remember there's a fair amount of Louisiana, even though it's very marshy and not populated, that could have an extremely dangerous storm surge. So here that is. So we'll start over on the left. On the west side, so New Iberia, a storm surge of 1 to 3 feet. And then as we head over to Grand Isle, southern Louisiana, 2 to 4 feet. And then right on the tip of Louisiana, we're looking at 4 to 6 feet. The highest storm surge we think is going to be, again, near Mobile Bay and Dauphin Island, because we talk about this all the time. On a landfalling tropical cyclone, that northeast side is the one that pulls the most water. Therefore, it grabs the most water from the Gulf and carries it inland. So the storm surge 5 to 8 feet from anywhere from Dauphin Island back over towards the mouth of the Pearl of the Mississippi, and then 3 to 5 feet in Mobile Bay itself, and then back towards the right or towards Florida. We're looking at 2 to 4 feet through Pensacola, Panama City, and then 1 to 3 back down to Yankeetown and through the Big Bend of Florida. So a big chunk of real estate is going to feel some impact with the storm surge as we head through. And remember, storm surge comes ahead of the landfalling system, so we're going to start to feel and see the storm surge as early as tomorrow afternoon. Probably already seeing some rises now, and it will get much more pronounced as we get into the day tomorrow. So let's talk a little bit about the sea surface temperatures. We've been talking about those an awful lot. 86 to the west of the system and 86 to the right. But up here, we start to see the shelf get a little bit lighter here. So that's indicating some slightly cooler water. And we talked about this yesterday, that this is a direct player in the amount of energy, latent energy, stored up energy that the tropical cyclone can contain and take with it. So as we get further north into the northern part of the northern Gulf of Mexico, that heat and that parcel of energy becomes less concentrated, so there's less energy to work with, and so therefore it's harder for the tropical system to stay organized. So I keep calling it tropical system because I don't know if this is going to come in as a hurricane or a tropical storm. Hurricane Center is calling for a landfall, a Cat 1 hurricane, but in the event that we see some unusual fluctuations in intensity, I'm just calling it a tropical cyclone. Okay, so I'll go to that in just a second, Matt. But at any rate, there is still going to be enough energy in the Gulf to maintain tropical storm strength, and possibly we could see it get a little higher into a Cat 1. And the Hurricane Center is on the high end of their guidance. They say that, but they know all too well how much energy there is in the Gulf of Mexico and just how much these tropical cyclones feed off this stuff. So here is 2 recon missions from late this afternoon, and you can see the one down towards the bottom had a pressure reading of 989. Wind speed was at 61 miles an hour when they flew through the south side of the southeast side of Zeta. And then the second mission was coming in from the north, and the pressure there 994, the wind speed 59. So officially, again, the wind's at 65. But this is just to show you, they come in from all different quadrants of the hurricane, from the tropical storm, north, south, east, west, take different samplings of the atmosphere to come up with their formulation of how strong this will be. This is the Euro for Futurecast, and this is a great guidance for the rain and when we expect the worst of the weather to come. The blue path you see there is the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center, and of course, obviously, the yellows and the greens there are is the actual tropical cyclone itself. And then you can see just how quickly from tomorrow to Friday, how quickly that system moves. I'm going to back that up, and we're going to take a look at that again. So as we scoot the timeline back down to landfall tomorrow, and again, this one's a little closer in estimate to what the Hurricane Center says, anywhere from 7 to 8 p.m. This one's a little ahead of it as well, coming in, around 4 to 5 p.m. local time. But you can see that it follows the path of the Hurricane Center pretty decently. It's a little bit to the left of the actual center, but certainly within the cone, and then going right over New Orleans. And of course, there's been a lot of concern about how New Orleans will handle this. So much of this area is under levees, and everything was restructured after Hurricane Katrina. But even so, even if with that said, we're still going to be talking about flooding in New Orleans. It's below sea level, and even a Category 1 hurricane or a strong tropical storm is going to cause some problems if this path holds. So the folks in New Orleans, and there's a lot of people there, I know the drill. They've been through a lot of hurricanes, but there's certainly going to be some big problems, potential flooding. I don't think there's going to be any problems with the levees there, but there certainly is going to be the potential for some big headaches tomorrow as that system moves off towards the northeast. And then it goes very quickly off the U.S. coast, as I mentioned, by late Thursday and into early Friday. So let's see what else I got in here, and then I'm going to show you that video. But let me take a look at the rain rates real quick. So this is estimated between now, and I did a shorter run here because this is going to make it more accurate. So this is going to be between now and late Thursday into Friday, anywhere from 4 inches in New Orleans to about 2.5, 2 8/10 in Gulfport, up into parts of Chattanooga, maybe as much as 3.5 inches of rain. Nashville about 2 2/10. So cumulatively, some of the models are going as high as 7 inches. But I think because of the fast nature and the fast movement of Zeta, I think the rain totals are going to be a little less, and the threat for flash flooding will be less than we initially thought, but still going to be a big problem nonetheless as we deal with it as it moves through the southeastern U.S. Okay, so now here is the water vapor. This is a good time to show the video, Matt. So we have some video that Aaron Jajak shot from this ice storm that's currently along western Texas and eastern New Mexico. It has been a huge weather event, and it's in Oklahoma as well. And it has caused massive power outages. You probably have heard about the ice accumulations there. Not only are they getting ice, they're getting sleet, they're getting thunder snow. You can actually see the thunder snow in our app. Our CEO pointed it out to us within this last hour that if you check the app and toggle open the app and look at the radar, there is actual thunder snow that you can see that's near Lubbock, Texas. So this is a massive system that's going to be a big player. So we've got our cold front here. Wait a minute, let me grab my drawer. There it is. So here is our cold front. And then we've got our ridge of high pressure that's over here. And then in between these two, in this channel, if you will, is going to be the pathway for Zeta. So Zeta is going to kind of go through this little channel right through here and scoot off towards the north, and then eventually towards the northeast very quickly as the front pushes south. So it's a very easily depictable scenario when you look at it from the water vapor. So you can see the cold front very clearly. Behind that, where the orange is, that's the drier air. That's where in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, it's bone dry, because I mentioned there's a huge cold front, huge winter storm moving across that area of the country. And then in between that cold front, or that trough, and that high pressure center that's off the coast of Florida is going to be that channel or that gateway for Zeta to move towards the north starting tomorrow. So we'll see that turn towards the north tomorrow, and then it accelerates and moves even quicker towards the northeast. Because remember, I've talked about these troughs or these areas of low pressure like being shovels, and so it's going to take Zeta basically and just kind of shove it towards the northeast as we head into tomorrow. And it's also getting picked up by the jet stream. So that forwards its acceleration. Jet stream, a big conveyor belt of air in the atmosphere, kind of like those people movers that you get in the airport where you can walk faster than everybody else when you jump on those things. Jet stream, kind of like that. I'm oversimplifying it, but kind of the same premise. So Zeta kind of gets on this conveyor belt and just catapults towards the northeast. So it will be, luckily, out of Louisiana relatively quickly. The problem is just how much damage is it going to do before it leaves, because we already know Louisiana has seen a ton of damage and a ton of issues this hurricane season, and we're getting yet another system. So here is that big cold front, and again, the ice and the snowstorm with it through the Texarkana area. Again, snow, and we'll switch over to rain tomorrow and Friday. But again, you can see the fast nature of that frontal boundary that will help move everything really quickly. And luckily, as I mentioned, get things out of here sooner than later. Okay, let me go back to our infrared. And I'll load that up because I wanted to show you one more thing on the infrared imagery. So I wanted to show you how big that cloud deck is. So let me grab my pointer yet again. And so see how already we have so much, the larger circulation is already, some of the cloud that has been filling in through parts of extreme western Florida up into the Gulf Coast already. And we've already seen some showers. I showed you that on radar. And then here's our center. And again, you can see we're starting to see a little bit more of that circular featuring, that circular banding. So this is definitely a cyclone that I think is trying to get better organized, and I think it will tonight. How strong it gets is remain to be seen, but the guidance all indicates that this should come in as a Category 1. We are not anticipating this to rapidly intensify to a Category 3 hurricane, because there not only is the sea surface temperatures cooler near Louisiana and southern Mississippi and southern Alabama, there's also wind shear. Remember, that's winds that are coming in at the opposing, if the wind's traveling north, we've got a wind coming in from the west. It's a change in wind direction. So that will help blow off some of those higher cloud tops. So I don't anticipate this to rapidly intensify. However, I do think this becoming a Category 1 hurricane, absolutely possible. Hurricane Center calls for an 85 to 80 mile per hour hurricane at landfall. Could it get stronger than that? It is possible. We'd really have to see it get extremely well organized tonight and really see that banding feature becoming more of like that donut that we talk about a lot, where we see thunderstorms firing around all quadrants of the tropical storm or hurricane at that point. So we'll see, but most of the guidance intensity does not call for that. And I will say it is looking better on infrared imagery tonight, but certainly not at the point where I'm saying, oh yeah, this looks like this is going to rapidly intensify. But I think it will get stronger. All right, so let me grab my readers and let's take a look here and see if there is, we've got someone in Houma, Louisiana. His YouTube name is Strickton, I think is how you say it. I'm sorry if I've got that wrong, but oh my gosh, I'm thinking of you tonight. I know Houma's expecting a fair amount of bad weather, of course. Night Rider's saying it looks like it's going to be growing quickly. It's not growing in intensity, but it's definitely growing in size. That wind field, it does expand when they get this large in size. But remember, the size of the hurricane or tropical storm doesn't mean that it's more powerful. It just means it's larger in size. More people will be impacted. There will be greater effects felt by more people. So yes, the storm surge is going to be impacting a lot of people. The wind will be impacting a relatively small sector. It's going to be concentrated to that northeastern eye wall. But if this does get strong into a strong Category 1 or a minimal Category 2, then that changes the game completely. However, again, guidance is calling for a Cat 1 at landfall, and at this point, that's what it looks like, unless, again, through tonight things could change, but at this point that's what it looks like on infrared to me. But we'll see how this plays out between tomorrow morning, because you never say never in tropical cyclones. Okay, let's see, who else do we have? If we have anyone in Twitter, I don't see any questions there. We got Robert on Facebook joining. That was joining in. Amanda Green is joining on Facebook as well. And then we've got Patrick on Facebook, and Amanda says, what happens if there's another one after Zeta? I think we go to Theta is the next letter, and I apologize, I don't know. I did actually rush in college, but I didn't join a sorority. But I think it's Theta. So if someone wants to tell me, I think Theta is after Zeta. So it's possible, you guys. You know, it is October 27th. Hurricane season officially ends, you know this, November 30th. We have seen tropical formation all the way through January. We've seen it as early as April and May. The only really time of the year on the calendar year that we haven't seen a tropical cyclone is February and March, I believe. So it is definitely possible. We're going to tick off another name of the Greek alphabet. And of course, if we do, we will break the record or tie the record of 2005. And I certainly think that is a real possibility. So we'll wait and see how that all plays out. Did anyone actually tell me for sure? I think Zeta is, or Theta is the next one. I guess I could Google it real quick, right? Let's look. We'll take a quick look-see. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. Oh my gosh, okay. It's giving me the symbols. It's not giving me the names. Oh, wait a minute. Matt, do you know? Okay, we're all looking it up. Well, after Zeta in this that I looked at, it's Eta with it. It's the H letter, right? ETA. And then Theta, okay, and then Iota. Okay, so it would be Eta, Theta, and Iota, and then Kappa, Lambda, Mu. There you have it, you guys. Let's hope. Let's hope, right? Let's hope we don't get that far. Let's be done with Zeta. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, all right, you guys, I think that's going to do it. We're going to get our update here from the National Hurricane Center soon. It's 10:33 Eastern time here in Orlando, Florida. We want to make sure that we can turn things back around for you, get the update for you at 11. We'll just have the graphics. I won't be coming back on at 11, but we will turn the graphics around for you so you can see the live update, the latest path, any changes in the watches or the warnings. We'll have all that for you coming up here in about 27 minutes. And then tomorrow morning, as I mentioned, Mike Linden will be in. He'll be covering the storm as we get into the morning hours and through the afternoon. And we'll also hopefully, fingers crossed, get some video and some live coverage with Aaron J. Jack. He's headed down there. Our storm chaser is headed down there. He's actually in that ice storm, as I mentioned. He's in Oklahoma right now, trying to get down to Louisiana. And I said power outs everywhere, and it's just a huge mess. So you saw from that video, there's been a ton of ice across parts of Oklahoma and Texas. So he's on his way. So hopefully we'll get some updates with him tomorrow. And we'll continue to be here with you throughout Landfall tomorrow night. And then hopefully by Thursday, this will be a distant memory for Louisiana and hopefully a distant memory for the U.S. by Friday. That is going to do it for us tonight, though. If you have a question, you guys, on your city and I didn't address it, or if you have a question about something else, please let us know, and know that we're going to have our fast forecast for you tomorrow morning with more info. I'll be getting that out to you guys as well. That comes out, I think, around 3:30 in the morning. So we'll have that out before Mike starts coverage at 8. Okay, that's going to do it for now. Thanks again. We always appreciate you guys tuning in for us and supporting us throughout our growth. You know, the MyRadar has changed so much since I joined this company 5.5 years ago. It's just grown exponentially. So we really appreciate all the support and everyone that watches us here on our social media channels and in the app. All right, that'll do it for now. Stay safe, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow.